I don't think hard sparring is a bad thing. It just has to be safe. And I actually get to draw my hands more with traditional guys because they play on the outside as well. Yeah. And it just became a thing where I vlog my sparring. Yeah, I started getting momentum while I was under house arrest, which was crazy. I would say the hard sparring is where the views come in. I think part of my channel blew up because I posted hard sparring.
What makes a good sparring partner?
I mean,
Okay, alright, now we know when it comes to martial artists, there are those that happily stay in their lanes, and some that just have to mix it up and challenge the norms, both with cross-training and matching their skills with those in other gyms, and even other styles for the ultimate pressure test. That's right, we're talking sparring, i.e. competitive fighting, however you want to look at it, and let's face it, the man that's truly been around the world to match his skills with anyone, as well as teach those willing to learn from him, is Canadian fighter / well-known YouTuber from MMA Shredded, Mr. Jeff Chan. This time we get to sit and talk with Jeff to see what truly makes him tick.
A noted YouTuber, yes, but also fighter, does a lot of seminars, and yeah, just going to introduce him, Mr. Jeff Chan. How are you, buddy?
I am good. Thank you for having me.
Man, thanks for being here, man. I got to say, first and foremost, I'm a big fan of not only you, but the channel and the things you've done with it. And I'm a martial artist who did traditional back in the day and still do, but I'm really big now, more on the practical side. So I do a lot of Krav Maga, but also sparring as well. So I use a lot of your videos as like inspiration, and I definitely love the tips and everything that you share.
I'm a fan.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And you're a dude who's out of Canada, right? So you're another one of these Canada guys. I've talked to a few guys up there, like Kevin Go, Budo Brothers. You guys are all like really serious about your fighting, and I love that. I'll get it started off right away though, man. I know you've had some videos about this, but I just want to get everybody kind of acclimated and getting to know you a little bit more. How did you get your start, just as far as like your interest in martial arts? I know you got an MMA background and all that, but when you first got interested in martial arts, when did that start? What age and all that?
So I didn't have any specific, like any like special or crazy story. Essentially, one of my best friends at the time brought me in to train Muay Thai, and I went into class with him, and I just trained and really enjoyed it as a hobby. And then yeah, I mean, I would say I used to like play fight a lot to begin with, so I always liked fighting. I remember I used to like play shot for shot during science class with my hockey friend. So I always liked fighting, and then one day my friend brought me in to train, and that's just how it started.
Were you an athlete in like high school and all that, or all that? Were you?
I played soccer, volleyball, basketball.
Okay, got you. So, but the fighting really clicked with you, and you really wanted to kind of get in. Once you were in, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think those low kicks from soccer really helped transition into Muay Thai.
Nice. And then when you got in, were you initially drawn into going pro as a fighter, or
not at all? I never had any plans to go pro. I mean, throughout my whole, my pro career, it wasn't very long to begin with, but throughout that, I never really wanted to go pro. I never really planned to. It just kind of happened. Like, I would see myself as a martial artist. I think martial artists who train for a very long time, they eventually compete and fight because they've been doing it for so long. And when you do it for so long, you eventually develop that skill, and you kind of want to challenge and test yourself and see how far this can go. But I never had like a specific plan to want to fight.
To go pro. Okay, I got you. And I saw your video about like how you basically started your YouTube channel, which is it's a very inspiring story, and it's kind of like very low point, right? But you made like this, you turned something that was a negative into a super positive. So can you talk a little bit about that? How hard was that actually, like, just sitting down and doing that video and just bearing your soul a little bit?
Is that this video can inspire and give faith to those who may be going through some really hard times in their life, because with my story, I was literally rock bottom. So
I mean, it's been 5 years since the whole situation happened. You're talking about the whole criminal.
Yeah, when you got charged for something you didn't do.
Now, one weekend, I so happened to decide to have come back to Toronto to hang out with some friends, and I found 4 to 5 RCMP officers investigating my condo. Everything was like bordered off, so I wasn't even allowed into my condo. It turns out there were packages of fentanyl that were shipped and intercepted by RCMP to my condo under the name Jackie Chan. That was my fight name that was given to me by my old coach, Crew Jeff. It turns out that the main and sole suspect was my friend, because they were already following him for the last couple of days.
So it's been 5 years now, and after, like, I would say when it first happened, I didn't tell anybody. I didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't want people to kind of paint me with a bad picture and be like, oh, Jeff's associated with this, and that. But it's been 5 years. I'm quite over it, and in hindsight, now that it's been 5 years, I've realized that like everything happened for a reason, or at least I believe that. And I truly believe I wouldn't be where I'm at now if that didn't happen to me. So I use it as a story to inspire others, because, you know, I know there's a lot of people out there who are probably going through a hard time, and they're wondering, like, they're looking up at God and wondering, like, why is this happening to me? But, you know, I think bad things happen to a lot of people, and sometimes it's just, it's weird, but it happens to you so that you can achieve more.
Yeah.
And I believe that situation happened because I wasn't meant to be a police officer in a small town in Waterloo. I was meant to inspire people with my martial arts coaching.
Yeah, and training and doing what you do, man. And, you know, yeah, like you said, everything does happen for a reason. So talk to me a little bit about, I know in the video you talk about how you did it, but when you first started your YouTube channel, you said it was really just about kind of almost like vlogging your everyday training and stuff, right? So yeah, was that more the motivation?
So actually, how I started my channel was I attended Sean Fagan. Do you know who that is? The Muay Thai guy?
What's up, Sean Fagan here from Muay Thai Guy.
So I attended his first Muay Thai retreat in Thailand, and I got to hang out with him, and I got to see what he does for a living, which is he trains for a living. He trains Muay Thai for a living. And he kind of said, hey, well, Jeff, you can probably do the same thing. You know, you're a marketable person. You're an MMA. You should do the same thing, but in MMA. And I never thought I would make a YouTube video or YouTube channel. I never thought I'd be a YouTuber, but I kind of was inspired by what he did. He let me film a few videos with his camera, and yeah, I went back to Toronto at the time, and I remember feeling super motivated, inspired. But then after a month or two, I was kind of like, this is not going to work out for me. So I was still planning on trying to become a police officer. So my main focus was trying to get into law enforcement, and I made YouTube videos in my condo gym. So I remember I put like zero effort into it. I remember, you know, like the condo gyms, they have like those machines, those weighted machines. I remember behind me, you can see like a bicep machine or like a bench press, and I'm like teaching how to do a triangle or like jiu-jitsu moves on that rubber mat.
Right.
And it wasn't doing well, but, you know, I was inspired by Sean, and I thought maybe I can do something like he's doing. But then, I wasn't putting much effort into it until this whole thing blew up. And then I found myself under house arrest. I don't know if your audience knows the story, but essentially I was accused of a crime that I did not commit.
Fentanyl was a really scary drug that was getting a lot of attention, especially at that time. It was killing people, and the prosecutor was seeking 18 years.
They wanted me to go to jail for 18 years. It's when I think back, it's crazy. 18 years. And I was not allowed to touch a cell phone. I was not allowed to use the internet either, because the accusation was shipping fentanyl from Belgium to Canada. So they thought that, like, if I was at home, I could still touch the cell phone, I could still use the internet. Yeah. And so I was under house arrest for 2.5 years, and I could not touch the phone or use the internet. And essentially, after a year of good behavior, I asked my lawyer, I was like, hey, like, I haven't breached any conditions. Like, can you please help me out? You know, I'm going crazy at home. I need to like watch TV online, you know? So then he eventually let me, he made it so that I was able to use the internet. And he also made it so that I could leave the house if I'm with my mother or my sister. And my mother would drive me to the gym. And I remember it was like winter time. She'd like sit outside in the car while I would go train and like release some stress. And she would sit in the car because obviously I didn't want people wondering why you bring your mom with you at the gym, right? So yeah, it was a hard time, but once I started training, I got a little bit more motivated, and like deep down, I didn't know, but deep down, I was obviously hoping that things would work out, but I knew I was innocent. So I knew had to stay positive, and martial arts was the only outlet I really had. And I knew that even if I got out of this case free, I would never be able to get back into law enforcement just because of the situation, the association. So in my head, I was like, I gotta figure out what to do after. And I'm like, hey, I have this channel that isn't doing great, but I have this channel. And then I kind of remembered the conversations I had with Sean Fagan and was like, hey, maybe I can do what Sean does. And so I started vlogging my training. And I would say vlogging my sparring is the thing that kind of helped me blow up. People, I guess, like watching me spar. Yeah. And it just became a thing where I vlog my sparring, my tutorials. And I started getting momentum while I was under house arrest, which was crazy.
Nice. Yeah. That's very crazy. It's a crazy story. So glad things worked out for you. I'm going to put up a couple of your videos are so cool, man. So just like you're saying, you're really known for doing like a lot of like, not documentary, but like vlogging kind of your sparring and your techniques, and your breakdowns are so cool, man. So
because I'm not kickboxing, when I go for a liver hook without stepping out to kick after, I always get tagged with a counterpunch.
And for me, maybe you can break it down a little bit for the audience. I like just how not only do you show your sparring, but you do a lot of the breakdowns of what you're doing and how to get better at it. Was that always like your kind of thing in the beginning, or you just wanted to see this feedback for yourself? Go ahead.
So when I was under house arrest and I started going back to the gym, my coach actually was helping me out to, he gave me a position to teach. And I remember I was in debt $150,000 for lawyer fees. Wow. So I needed to work, and it's not like the gym was paying me much, but it was something. I recall I like teaching things that I'm actually good at, things that I can actually pull off in my sparring. I don't like to teach things that I can't do. It's like if I could teach things that I can't pull off myself, I could just literally teach class by going on YouTube and be like, okay, what should I teach today? And I just search up a YouTube video and teach whatever they're teaching, right? So I think a lot of the things that I do, sometimes at the time I didn't know what I did because it came out instinctually through high intensity or hard sparring. So sometimes I would try to teach it and I wouldn't know how until I slowed down my footage and saw exactly what I did. And I became a better teacher in that way. So some of these moves that you're watching right now on the screen, I didn't know what I was doing until I slowed it, slow motion, step by step. And I'm like, okay, that's exactly what I'm doing. And now I can teach it. I'm sure you do a lot of things kind of instinctually as well.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's a great point, because it's like, and that's why I always tell a lot of our students, it's like, film yourself just to see what you're doing so you can work on what you're doing wrong, because you don't even realize when you're doing certain things what you're doing. And it's one thing for people to kind of, hey, you're doing this wrong, before you actually see yourself. And I did that too, especially when I would go for testing a lot. I'd really want to kind of see how I looked, not only sparring, but doing certain techniques or whatever. I got to clean up that, or I keep dropping my hands or whatever it was. But yeah, absolutely. I think there's a great benefit to it. But yeah, I love that's what you do. You just go into different gyms. Oh, and speaking of, so hard sparring, I know I had to bring it up. You're known for your hard sparring more than anything, but I give you a lot of credit for doing a lot of how-to videos as well. So it's not just like you go on and you're beating people up. But you get a lot of flack for the hard sparring videos.
That's it.
When it comes to hard sparring, I mean, I can talk quite long about this topic. Yes. I would say the hard sparring is where the views come in. I think part of my channel blew up because I posted hard sparring, and it appears like I hard spar more often, but in reality, it's actually more rare. I just don't post as much of the light technical sparring. Although now I'm really stepping down and like promising myself and my wife and my kid that I'm not going to do hard sparring, just for the longevity of the training and whatnot.
True.
But I mean, I would say I used to fight, and everyone has an ego, and I can fully admit that there's times where I started it, but I would say a lot of the times it was not my fault. Like, I'm the type of guy that, like, at least back in the day, it's like I'm sparring someone, they go hard, or at least I feel like they're going hard. Like exactly this video here.
Yeah.
He might have not been going his 100% looking at the size, but that shot right there, he hit me pretty damn hard. And again, maybe that was his 50%, but his 50% is probably like my 90 or 100%.
Right, he's a bigger dude.
Yeah, and it was like off the first catch, the first exchange, and I'm like, that really surprised me, and right away I amped it up. Okay. Now, me today, maybe I'd like to think that I would be like, hey man, let's go a little bit lighter. Right. I'd like to think that, and that's how I want to continue moving forward, and that's what I want to teach. Not having that ego, but a lot of the hard sparrings, occurred from training at new gyms and people that you don't know. And when people see the camera, they're often like, "Oh, who's this guy?" And maybe they go a little bit harder. And when they go hard, then I'm like, I have an ego, and then I go hard back, and then things just escalate. On the other hand, now that I've kind of developed the name for myself, when I do go to gyms now, it's funny because people are like, "Oh, I've watched your videos, bro. I won't be that guy."
Don't be that guy.
Technical, and it's good. It's good. But yes, I would say like at the beginning, traveling to different gyms, people didn't know who I was. They saw the camera and they want to go hard on me. And again, maybe it wasn't that they were going super hard on me, but they went hard enough that harder than the way I went, so it maybe escalated. And then that's kind of my ego and my problem as well, because maybe they were going like 60%, and then for me it felt like it was 80, so then I amp it up to 80, and then he goes 90, and yeah.
I mean, that just, listen, when you spar, you always know, you can say it even before we start, hey man, we're going to go light. But then like you're saying, as you tag a little more and I get clipped with something, I was like, okay, that was a little harder. I like it, but that's just
intensity. Yeah.
Yeah. Human nature is as the intensity increases, you're going to increase with it. We got, like in my gym, we say, listen, I'll hit you as hard as you hit me. But if we're starting with this line, we're like, hey, we want to go about 40, 50% or whatever, then we're keeping it there unless you're going to, rev it up. I'm not just going to let you use me as a punching bag. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so what is that like when you come into a gym? I'm glad you mentioned that. When you come into a gym now, is it almost like signing waivers and stuff with people? Or are you kind of almost like gentleman's agreement? Hey, I'm really trying to just show more technique, guys. We're going to do sparring, but I wanted to kind of keep it at this mid-level range. Or are you just kind of like, hey, do what you guys do?
So for the most part, even in the past, so in that specific video that you're watching right now, I was actually hosting a retreat in Bali, and this guy was actually the instructor at that gym. But the gym was a kickboxing, like cardio kickboxing gym, so they didn't have sparring classes. And so he saw my class and asked to join, and I was the first to spar him, because obviously I'm not going to have this guy spar my students. I had to see his control, and obviously it's a good thing that I went first, because I'm the one who took the brain damage versus my students. But anyways, this was a different scenario. But yeah, for the most part, I will email gyms and be like, hey, I'm visiting from whatever. I was hoping I can film at your gym, give your gym exposure, etc., etc. And usually the gym owner is very open to it, and they allow me to come into the sparring. And honestly, with all my hard sparring videos, it's like I'm in a class sparring several people, and say I spar 7 guys. 6 of them are super controlled, and there's 1 guy that goes hard.
Right.
And there's always just that 1 guy, and I don't know if it's intentional or not. It's always just that 1 guy.
Right. Yeah, I totally get that. And it's like, and yeah, of course. And I like that you use certain things as example. Like you said, there's always that 1 guy, and you have a couple of videos where like, don't be that guy, and like your pet peeves about certain like sparring scenarios.
I posted that recently.
Yeah, it was real cool. So, I'll ask you, like, what do you think, or in your view, what makes a good sparring partner?
I think a good sparring partner is someone that can reciprocate. So with all the hard sparring sessions I've had, it usually starts light. But as you were just mentioning, it's like we're at the first few exchanges, I'm blocking his strikes, he's blocking my strikes, and then suddenly 1 strike lands, and then now maybe he goes a little harder, a little bit faster, and then I go a little harder and faster, and it just kind of escalates. But I think a good sparring partner is someone who honestly doesn't have the ego and isn't trying to win. It's like, and it's hard to get that when you're sparring someone for the first time.
Yes.
But when you have developed a relationship with your sparring partner, then there's no ego, and then there's no keeping track. So I don't think hard sparring is a bad thing. It just has to be safe. So the one guy that I like to mention a lot, his name's Fred Stonehouse. He's like a coach and teammate of mine.
Sweet.
When we spar, we can go pretty intense, but it's not meant to hurt. It's hard but controlled. And to the head, we always pull the shots. And you can only have that type of sparring with someone that you've trained with for a long time. But when it's your first time sparring someone hard, and then they hit you a little bit hard, the truth is you have a bit of bad intentions when you're trying to strike, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the ego goes. There's like with certain people, you just can't, just take. I took a hit, and it's like I gotta get 3 back. Right? Yeah. It's like wait a minute. So
one more point to add to that. Actually, I just think the more skilled the person is, the less likely that is to happen. So all my hard sparrings are usually with amateurs, maybe a few times like pros that are just starting their careers, but every time I've sparred like really high level guys, I've never had that issue simply because they have such good control.
Nice. So it's switching gears a little bit on just kind of philosophies and fighting styles or whatever. Well, so as I mentioned before, I used to do traditional, and I still do traditional. I got a background on traditional martial arts. Because a couple of videos you have, you're doing techniques or whatever, or sparring with traditional guys, like say someone who's done Wing Chun or whatever. When you're fighting guys like that, have you ever had like situations where you're fighting, like say a Wing Chun guy, and you're like a technique may surprise you, or something that you've been able to say, okay, that surprised me, that was good, and I would use that, or I integrate that?
The Wing Chun blitz, the
chain punches.
The chain punches, yeah. I think that can be effective. It's no different than like a karate blitz, like the 2-1-2-1-2-1-2.
Right.
Hand trap.
Parry the jab into the check left hook.
Oh yeah, there you go. Sifu Nate.
Yeah, Sifu Nate. This was kind of cool. The trapping, you mentioned the trapping.
This time.
Yeah. The trapping definitely works. I mean, I think I trap slightly different, but trapping definitely works.
Okay. And then what about kicking per se? Anything specific on kicking that a traditional guy has done that, since it's not?
I think snap kicks to the head and side kicks. I'm pretty bad at side kicks and spinning kicks. I just don't have that background.
Yeah.
All my kicks are very like basic.
Right.
But like if you ask me to do like a spinning heel kick, spinning back kick, it's terrible.
Yeah, but more actually, that's a good question. So like when you're fighting, because I haven't watched as many, but say you're fighting like a good kicker, like a Taekwondo guy, and I think you fought some Taekwondo guys, your defense, does it change up a little bit? Are you less likely to drop hands, you think? Or is it just kind of work as you go?
I drop my hands when they play the long game with me.
Okay.
So if my opponent pressures forward, you'll see my hands go up.
Yeah.
But if they stay on the outside with me, I'll keep my hands down because the distance.
Yeah.
And I'm able to react and see the strikes coming. And I actually get to drop my hands more with traditional guys because they play on the outside as well. Whereas say I'm sparring a boxer who's trying to get in the pocket aggressively, then my hands will come up.
All right, there it is. There you go, guys. Part 1 of my discussion with Mr. Jeff Chan. Now, for all my people that spar out there regularly in your respective martial art, or maybe not as often, I'm sure there's some pointers you can all take away from this interview. If so, just let me know in the comments, because I for sure picked up some great pointers. The good news is we'll get even more great info from Jeff in part 2.
Today, like the online world, they're very biased, and some people are haters of traditional martial arts, and then some are haters of modern martial arts. Right. I think at the end of the day, all martial arts are super effective. It just really depends on who is training it.
And of course, we'll speak on his encounters with even more traditional martial artists. Plus, we'll find out what style Jeff would really love to go up against next. Guys, please like, comment, and share the video if you haven't already, as it really does work wonders for me with the algorithm as far as engagement goes, and helps us to get the message out and the videos out to even a broader audience and bring them on here so they can check out more. And go ahead and follow me on my other socials to keep up with me and get even more content that you'll like. And guys, consider becoming a member, because yes, it does help us grow the channel, but also there's going to be even more exclusive content there that you guys will appreciate, and we're going to continue to stockpile stuff in that particular area. And while you're here, check out another video that I'm sure you're going to like. Come on, you know you want to.
Yeah, kinda.
Guys, stay safe. See you in the next round for part 2, and keep punching.
it's Jeff Chan. Thank you for watching Kung Fu Chronicles.